Okay, here we are, week 8 of Agentuity. Wow, it's been a really busy week as we count down to the public launch here soon. Couple, 2 or 3 weeks, right? I think something like that. It seems like it's too close away. We are going to kick it off. We've got one compadre here is missing today. He's on some sort of bright line train from Orlando down to someplace. I don't know where he lives. Just kidding. Jupiter Beach, the wonderful, wonderful place that we all wish we lived. Anyway, we're going to kick it off with Matt. And exactly. We're going to kick it off. It's been raining here in Austin all week. It's not raining right now, though. It may be raining actually a little bit. So we're going to kick it off with Matt and let him show us some really cool, amazing front end stuff. Go ahead, Matt.
No pressure. Okay, great. All right, so just sort of building on some of the momentum we've had in the past couple of demos around the way that we're starting to make data quicker and easier to access. One thing that we've added this past week is on sessions and logs, we had this sort of infinite loading of the tables so that just as you scroll down, it'll just keep loading new ones in. There's no traditional pagination, next page, previous page, etc. So we've gone ahead and added that functionality to the project page, the agent page, and the deployment page. So, if you've got a bunch of projects here, a bunch of agents, a bunch of deployments, that'll all just work. And, obviously included in part of that is for agents, you can now filter based on project, and we'll just keep adding more and more filters and improving that UX. Another thing we've done is we've added some additional functionality to the command K. So now instead of having to paste in a project ID or an agent ID, you can actually just search for them by name now. So you can just type in newsroom project, and you can go to the project, view agents for it, etc. Or if you type in an agent name, we've got 2 here that match. You can go and you can pick one, and you have these different options for this specific agent. Of course, you can back out of that and start all over again. So again, trying to make it easier for you to get around the app, find the stuff that you need to find. Another thing we've done is, whenever you open sessions or spans or logs or any of that stuff before, we had the really nice UX where, if you're just trying to churn through a bunch of them real quick and find something, we were having this sheet slide out. We've added that functionality now to the agents as well. So if you click on agent, wherever you see one listed, it'll just open it up real quick in a sheet. You can inspect it and you're like, oh, nope, that's not the one I was looking for. Maybe it's this one. Nope, not that one either. Okay, this is the one that has, my cost data or the log I was looking for or whatever else, right? As with sessions and logs, these are intercept routes. And so as you can see, it actually does change the URL in the URL bar up here. And so if you just refresh or copy and paste that link or something, it'll take you actually to that specific page now. So still that great UX. Additionally, before, if you open a session from the sort of the global sessions level, it wasn't opening a sheet. That's resolved now. So it's always opening a sheet no matter where you open it from. And additionally, we've logs now, we've done the same sort of thing. And this is an actual intercept route now instead of just a slide over that you can't link to. If I refresh here, you'll see this is now a full-fledged page. And so you can link somebody to this very specific log. With that, we've sort of redone the UI a little bit. We've moved some stuff around. And the nice thing is now we've got all the metadata here. Whenever there's a deployment or project, agent, session, log, etc., ID in the sidebar, you're going to get these additional actions. You still have the click to copy, but if there are logs associated with that item, you can go to the logs, or if there's a page associated with that item, you can go straight to that page now. Another thing we've done is, we've got cost tracking when you go look at an agent. We've added that to additional places now. So you'll see here in our recent sessions, we've actually got costs associated with this. I think these are local ones. But if you're on the agent screen, you'll start to see costs in this table. On sessions, you'll start to see costs as well. And again, we'll start adding additional filtering and sorting and everything else for these. So it'll be a lot easier for you to go and see what's actually happening with your usage for billing. One other thing we did is, sometimes when you're linked to a page by somebody that maybe, you're a member of their org, but you also have your own organization, or you're in dev mode and you're deving on a project that's not the org that you're currently logged into, it would just come back with like a 404 not found. It was kind of confusing. So one thing we've done now is we've switched it to be more of a 401 instead of a 404. So, I'm in here, I'm in Rick's organization, I'm looking at one of his agents. But if I were logged into the Agentuity account instead of Rick's organization, this is what we get now. We get an unauthorized, and it's saying you've got access to this, but like it's not in the org that you're currently logged into. And so all you have to do is just pick the correct org that it's in. It'll load it right up for you. And the same thing will happen in dev mode as well. We know that was a bit of a pain point. So hopefully that makes everyone's life a little bit easier. And that's the UI updates for this week. For me, over to Bobby.
Yep. So we have 2 new IOs this week. So I am on my basic cron project, which kind of spoils what I'm going to demo. But and here, let me pop back. This is the agent that's deployed right now. So it's just the basic example where you can send it raw text. So from this screen, right, you can click on the agent and you can now add a cron job. I'm going to autofill it here, and I'm going to change this to plain text and tell me about cats, I guess. We click save, and our cron job will pop up. And we can also create a destination. So this is the input for our agent. This is the visual representation of your agent. And now we're going to create an output. So just for the sake of this demo, we're going to send it to this webhook tester site. But this could be like an API that you create. You can optionally put in a secret, and there's a little signing dance you have to do, which will be provided in the documentation. And go. So now we have our webhook configured, and you can also manually kick off the cron job. Right now, you can only access that from here, but I'm going to work with Matt to figure out a better UX there. So let's kick off our cron job manually. I guess we could have waited 2 minutes, 4 p.m. But let's wait for our session to come in here. Fingers crossed. There we go. So our session was complete, and I don't see my webhook. Darn it.
Debug it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's go look at the logs. Let's see. Okay.
You go to the trace.
The trace, like you mean the session? Yeah. You want to jump over here?
Go into the session that just ran.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like cats are fascinating. So the cron job kicked off properly. Let me jump back over here 1 second. Okay, that's correct. Oh, hey, there's here are my cat facts. So sorry, it was just a delay on the webhook tester website because it's came in here on time. Right? Yeah,
Nice.
it came in
That's
like
awesome.
a minute ago. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, that's what I worked on this week. So yeah, input cron, output webhook, or any service you want.
It's so cool starting to see all the inputs and outputs starting to fill up in this visualizer now. So
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, it's really awesome looking. One thing probably we need to do is make sure the outgoing webhook has the proper trace ID so that it shows up in the trace span, because it didn't show up in the trace span. That's why I was asking you to go into the session.
Okay.
We're not seeing the outbound webhook go out, so we should be seeing that. So we just need to make sure we're propagating the trace ID to the outbound webhooks.
I see what you mean.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome.
Improving the DX all the time, including during demo days.
Yeah. Over to Robin.
Yep. No visual demo. I've been working on our tracing. So we have some cool infrastructure in the cloud, and we trace everything, right? We're able to show you those spans and stuff inside the UI, which is really helpful. But the problem is sometimes we have an internal issue. And since it's all based off of that tracing, if it hasn't gotten to your agent yet, you're not going to see it. So I've spent a lot of this week really hammering in on every single case, every single error reported, so that as we're right now rebuilding some of that visualization query from our warehouse, in the tracing, error tracing, and all that in logs, you're going to be able to see it pretty much from every step. So we hope we don't fail on our end, but when we do, it's going to still show up in the logs, and you won't just be like, well, what happened? We'll be able to catch it ourselves really quickly and respond to it, but then also you're not left hanging, literally. That's it. Over to you, Jeff.
And so this is like the scenario where we had some reports of people, like they would fire off like a webhook or something, and they would just never see a session at all because it never got to the point where we were like registering the session where they could see it, right? And so now
Yes.
we'll show that it erred before it even got to their agent effectively.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, there's actually that one. There's the other case, right? So like a lot of times you'll init like in JavaScript, this is a super common thing to init like some library in the global scope, right? And then use that in your callback. But if you forgot your API key or you didn't put it in the secrets or whatever, that would just throw an error. And that throws before like the program even initializes, so it cancels, and then we never get our whatever telemetry callback by that point, since we're quick to clean that up. So now that'll show up too, which is kind of nice.
Great. That's awesome.
I had hoped to demo that and show that, but we aren't quite finished with the query work before demo here. So maybe next week we can show some of that hard work that Robin and Rick did, and I worked a little bit on it on some of the query side. I am going to do a demo a little bit around some of the new project improvements, as well as our fun new MCP integration. So let me start with the project. I'm going to just do a quick demo of just a typical new project. So I'll say demo MCP. I'll just do that. Test, and then I'll just do bun and whatever Vercel. Doesn't really matter. Let's just do agent 1 for now, because we'll create a couple different agents, and I'll turn security off. Now, a couple things that are neat about the new project. This is actually all the work that was done by Bobby. So Bobby built out this last week. He built out a GitHub action. So it'll automatically create your action workflow if you just want to deploy it directly from an action. We also have a new GitHub app integration. And what's nice about the app integration, once you kind of connect to the app, it'll allow you to automatically deploy. You don't have to do any kind of GitHub action or anything like that. I'm just going to choose an action. I'll show that off. And so it'll give you a little bit more information when you do the GitHub action. It'll tell you how to get your key, go to the repo, get your key, and make sure you put that in GitHub so your action will automatically run. So let me first go in and then maybe show off. So I'm going to bring up cursor. And let's bring cursor forward. I don't know why it doesn't bring it forward on my machine sometimes. Let me make that a lot bigger. And go away, Devin. So you can sort of see here's your GitHub Agentuity file. It went ahead and created your workflow for you. It's all set up, all ready to go. As long as you set your key inside of GitHub to your Agentuity API key, which you can get from the dashboard, it'll automatically just deploy every time you run on main. And of course, you can change that if you want it to be a different branch or something like that. It'll automatically deploy to the cloud. We also have MCP support now, so I thought I would show that off. A couple things. When you first create a project, if you don't have MCP, you can also just run this npm list or npm install or MCP list or MCP install or MCP uninstall. First time you run a new project or login or whatever, it'll check and it'll offer to install the MCP for you. I'm testing with different servers here, or clients rather, but I'm going to show this off in cursor here. So I've got my new project. You can of course create projects from your MCP as well. I'll just skip that step. I've just got my typical agent example. So let's start off with asking Cursor to help us build a new agent. So let's just say, let's see, create a new agent named, let's call it what, agent 2 that will calculate, I don't know, the square root of, I don't know, that. And it doesn't need any auth. We'll see what it is. Let's see if it figures it out. Okay, so far so good. Yeah, list the agents. Okay, there's already an agent called, I'll create a new agent. Okay, it's going to go ahead and create an agent. See how well it does. Oh, it started creating an agent. Agent been created. Now I'll create the logic, calculating square root. All right, let's see how it's doing over here. Agent 2. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and accept it and assume it's correct. And there it is. Okay, that's pretty cool. So we'll like to deploy this agent for you. Yes, that's pretty cool. Let's see if it works. I'll help you deploy Agentuity. All right, deploy. All right, it knows to do the deployment. And let's see how it did. Oh, successful. There you go. Even gave me the URL. It's pretty cool. So that's pretty cool. So, you know, the hope here is with the MCP integration into your different clients, it should help building out and using Agentuity. So that's pretty cool. And, you know, let us know how it goes and other kind of capabilities you want to see. You should be able to do all kinds of stuff. You know, for example, you should be able to say, what are my projects? You know, you can, of course, use plain language. You know, we support projects. We support showing agent information. You can sort of see a bunch of my test projects here. You can sort of show who am I, let's say, and it should check your authentication status. You can do things like, of course, you saw creating agents. You know, what agents do I have? Let's see if that works. You can ask it a bunch of information about your agents, and it'll go out and list your agents, etc. You know, so that's pretty super useful. So anyway, that's it for the MCP, and pretty cool integration. Let us know other. Right now we support Quad, desktop, you know, Windsurf and Cursor. We are going to be adding others. We just need to know kind of where the MCP file lives and kind of how to register the MCP for each client. But OpenAI this week just announced their MCP support. And so that's pretty cool. And we're going to be continuing to bring more and more MCP support to the platform. So your agents will also automatically get MCP support as well here soon. So some really cool stuff that we're doing on the MCP front. So let us know if there's other things you'd like to see, or you know, kind of other issues you'd like to run into, or other things you'd like to see in the agent or in our tools as well. So anyway, great week. Thanks for all the feedback. Hopefully these bugs and improvements and fixes are going to help you out, and we really appreciate all the input. So anyway, week 8 is over and out. We will see you next week. All right. See you, everybody. Bye.